Hello there, and pleasant welcome to another exciting edition of the program CEO's Chat. And of course, thanks for joining this very, very interesting conversation wherein we bring corporate executives, business leaders, chief executive officers to have a conversation on trending entrepreneurial topics and all that you need to build a business or to continue to run your business. Today we have another exciting topic to talk. It is one of the most interactive topic all across various corporate boardrooms. People are talking about it. There's a lot of value that you see in it. There's a lot of information out there, but we've decided to divide it into a three-part discussion. Today we'll start with the first part, the importance of personal branding. The importance of personal branding. We will produce a three-part series on this particular topic, and we will have three magnificent ladies, hopefully, to share their thoughts on the importance of personal branding. So first, on this three-part series of the importance of personal branding, we'll take a look at social selling. Social selling, the importance of social selling. My name is Wilcom Duncan. I'm the CEO of Champion Designs. And to talk about social selling, we've invited a Liberian content maker, a Liberian fashion designer, a Liberian social media savvy tech guru. She's all in one. And she's been leveraging her relationship to increase people return on investment all across social media platform. And she is beautiful Mrs. Thelma Teetee Ahamba, and she's going to be sharing with us her thoughts on the importance of social selling as it relates to personal branding. So let's bring Teetee in the studio to talk about the importance of personal branding. Welcome, Teetee.
Hi, welcome. Thank you so much.
The pleasure is all mine. The pleasure is all mine. To get you talk about personal branding has been really, yeah. But anyway, welcome to the platform.
Thank you so much. I appreciate it. And it's a pleasure to be on your show. I've only seen it online, and it feels really warm and interesting to be sitting right next to an interesting personality as yours and someone who's very smart, especially seeing that I have proof from way down the line. So sitting right next to you in the same space is always wonderful. So I'm happy to be here today.
Thank you so much. And we admire the work that you do. You also have a podcast, Chat with Temi. Watch out. She has a podcast every Friday. She talks about a lot of great stories of inspiration. And we thought it wise to bring you on social selling. What is this concept? We know there are social media handles, there are Facebook, Instagram, LinkedIn, TikTok, and all of these various platforms. Some people have the thought that if I put out content, if I continuously put out information for my public, I'm selling. Is that social selling since I'm using social media handles? What is social selling in your thoughts?
First of all, I like the fact that your this three-part series is mainly on personal branding, because now the way in which the world has moved or evolved is more of the creator economy is getting bigger and bigger and bigger every now and then. And 2001, it's even more bigger because necessarily some COVID has some impact on
contracted
it
the space.
So now we're more crunched than we were before. So now we're all in this phase of lockdown. We're all finding home and making ourselves adjusted to the new normal. So everybody's moving online. So with social selling, being on social media and selling doesn't necessarily mean social selling. What social selling simply is talking about, what simply means is the fact that you're selling, but you're trying to leverage relationships to be able to make sales. So in the space of talking about personal branding and how it relates to social selling, it's a quite interesting topic, because a lot of times, and I've seen this online, so I'm coming from a space of observation here. So most of the time, a lot of times we have our personal brands a bit confused, especially in the social space.
Yeah.
So some people may have maybe chocolate candy on Instagram and have
As their name now.
sassy, yes, as their handle, and have sassy Thelma on Facebook, and have maybe CEO Pro on LinkedIn, and Twitter is maybe Charming Girl. It's a bit confusing, and people don't know what to identify you with. People don't know. You don't come to mind when people think of any specific thing, because you're just all over the place.
Yeah.
And first thing first, when it comes to social selling, it comes to not just you leveraging relationship, but it boils down to trust. Because, not to sound cliche, but you hear a lot of people say people buy into people before they're willing
Buy
to
their
give,
products or even their services.
give you their money for your product or your service. So you want to be easily identifiable. And recently I made a post like that across my social media platform talking about the same thing, because from where I sit, I see a lot of young professionals gets a little bit confused when it comes to their representation on social media. Some are not intentional. I think most of them are not intentional.
It's just the lack of information or just sheer ignorance.
And sometimes you find them wanting something and they're being represented with another. They're representing themselves as something else.
Okay, so before we get into how people can actually leverage their personal brands, when we talk about social selling, who can benefit from social selling? Is it only entrepreneurs, sales reps, CEOs, as you are? Who can benefit from social selling?
So, social selling comes into play with everybody, whether you're a corporate brand or you are a personal brand. And recently somebody shared something and said, are we really selling stuff? And I'm like, whether it's intentional or not, we're selling. You're either selling yourself or you're selling a product or service. And selling yourself, I mean your image as a person. It's because not just CEOs or business people can benefit from social selling, but another thing is you as a student, right? Even a student can benefit from social selling. They can leverage their relationship to maybe sell their services, especially young people now are tech savvy more than the older generations, and they're not tapping into that enough because it's more of fun than it's business in their mind. So not just businesses or professionals can benefit from social selling. Anybody can benefit from social selling, but you need to go into that space with a whole lot of intention and a whole lot of strategy.
Okay, intention and strategy comes with competition. As business people, and even if you're not in top level management, everyone is engaged in some sort of competition.
Yeah.
How does knowing what social selling is and understanding social selling, how does it improve one's ability to withstand competition or beat your competition?
So what you want to do when it comes to that is you want to put some checks and balance in place. You want to know where you are. You want to know where you want to go, and then you want to be able to map out steps to be able to get there. And also you want to keep your eyes open to say, okay, people in my space, what are they doing? Where are they going? We may be, say for instance, digital creators. There are a lot of us these days. So the only way you can better yourself or improve yourself is to keep an eye on the person that's in your space that's doing similar thing. Not so much of you trying to snatch the market away from them, but in the same vein as, what are they doing that I'm not doing well? What are they doing so what that I'm not doing? So when I say look at where you are, look at the strategies you have in place. What are you doing? How do you connect with people? How do you connect with your target market? How do you connect with basically your stakeholders? And especially, how do you connect with your competitors as well? What are you learning from their space? What are they applying much more better than you are applying? And how can you do that? And then you also want to check out your social selling. And LinkedIn has this out there where you can calculate your social selling index. What people in your industry, are you connecting with people in your industry? Are you engaging with other people in your space? What kind of people, if you're representing something on LinkedIn, what kind of people are you connecting with? That helps you calculate whether your social selling index is a bit higher or a bit lower. And as a business, you want to get all these tools and and programs to help you create some check and balance that, okay, I'm here and maybe my competition is doing way more. And everybody have different KPIs, which is key performance index. So you want to know what yours are, and you want to know what those other people, your competitions are marking for themselves. Then that gives you, when you're coming up with a strategy or coming up with a roadmap, you're going at it with informed decision. You're not just going at it blindly.
You talk about social selling index as a metric, that's used to measure a person's performance. How important is that concept of social selling index? Say, not too many people are used to the business LinkedIn, but people on Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, do they also have a way they can measure their social selling index? Or
so just with that, just taking, I know it's LinkedIn that has that in place right now, and I'm not sure of analytical tool that can be applied to other social media platforms. But taking lessons from LinkedIn social selling index and the category of the categories they will mark you against to grade your social selling, what you can do is, first of all, what am I representing on this platform? Who's engaging with my content? How are people saving it? How are people engaging with me? Am I here to get leads? How am I getting leads? Who are the people reaching out to me? Who are the people am I helping? What language am I speaking? And who are the people I'm investing my time to engage with? Those are some things you can look at to help you make informed decisions on the platforms that you are on. And another thing you want to do is, when you ask yourself those questions, you wanna, because your social space, your social platform, your feed, what you call your home feed, it's populated because of the people you're connected to. The kind of content you see in your feed is as a result of the people you're connected with. So you want to pay keen attention to, first, what content do I see in my feed? Are they my ideal target audience? Are they people that I'm providing solutions for? Are they people that are asking me questions about how I can be of help to them? Because you don't want to just go in for vain metrics to say, I'm getting a lot of likes, I'm getting a lot of engagements and stuff, but it's not bringing money to your bank account. You want to pay keen attention to the numbers and say, okay, if I'm spending this amount of effort helping here, and I get, maybe on a week, I get at least one lead that I can close a sale with, maybe back and forth. At the end of, by the time I begin the next week, I know I've closed a sale with at least one person. You can do that. You want to bring your social interaction, you want to break it down to what's going into your bank account, because you don't want to make an investment that you're not getting.
Someone once said your social life should be tied to your economic life, and that brings to mind what you just mentioned about the kind of information that I come across on my news feed. If I always see comedy, I always see people dancing, and I always see jokes and everything, how can I, as a person who's watching now, who wants to leverage his social life with his economic life, so that there is sufficient return on investment, that I do not just go on Facebook to like, comment, and share, but I go on Facebook to attract leads, to attract potential clients, people who will buy into whatever that I'm involved with? How can a person now transition from that just a mere Facebooker to someone who wants to make,
I like
I
like that.
to someone who wants to get some return on investment?
So what I tell people is, the only
and you
person,
can say also for other platforms, Instagram, TikTok, and
the only person, I mean, you owe yourself a rebrand from the person you were 5 minutes ago. It doesn't matter. You owe that to you. You know what you want. You know what your goals are. You know what you want to get to. Like they say, we're dynamic beings, right? We change. So if I'm, and we don't know everything. So if I'm in this space and this information is being valuable to me, I have every right to clean up my digital footprint. Because you may tend to forget what you put out on social media, but the internet doesn't forget, and the internet does not forgive. So if you want to rebrand yourself, you want to clean up your digital footprint, you want to be able to, you said, how can they match their social life with their economic life now? What you want to do, you want to be intentional about it. Now you ask yourself, what do I want to project? How can I add value to the space I'm in? Because it's not about It's not about how much can I get from this space. It's about what can I give that's valuable to the audience that they'll be willing to pay money for. If I'm engaging with the content on social media, I go in with one mindset. What's my intention here? Why am I commenting on this content? Is it to show support? Is it to gain visibility? Is it to add value? Because you have no idea how much more visible you become when you add value to someone else's content. That person might come in and say, oh, hey, thank you, and thanks for adding value and stuff like that. And especially it's on LinkedIn that I see that a lot. And what happens is you'll find people in the comment section, because of that value you added, they'll send you an inbox message. Oh, hey, I check out your profile. I'll see you're into this and this and this. How can you be of help to me? Or how can we have a call for me to know more about what you do and how you can help me? So you being a mere Facebooker now, it doesn't matter that, I mean, we all learn new things every day. But the intention should be, is this new information I'm getting, what am I going to get out of it? So if you're a mere Facebooker, who are the people you're following? It's okay to delete people from your space. Clean up. I mean, clean up is okay. It's okay to detox. Detox physically, spiritually, socially, on platforms. Do it. It's good for your mental health, right?
Yep.
So if you're in a space that's not giving you any tangible returns on your investment, it's okay to detox your space.
Because come to think of it, people burn huge sums of money on data, and at the end of it, their ROI is nada. It's zilch, zero. So I think this kind of conversation needs to be more often, than likely encouraged, that people need to change, like you said, detox and clean up their digital footprint, start engaging their audience, because a lot of people have followings. I know several of young
that's
people.
not putting money in the bank.
I know several young people, have a lot of following. They'll post content out there, and a lot of people follow with comments. But at the end of the day, it's all mere Facebook talk. So,
and here's what a lot of young people are missing, and they get, like, I was going through this very beautiful girl. She did a very nice TikTok video. She got so much engagement. Here's what happens when you get so much engagement on social media. The way the algorithm works is when your content is engaged within the first hour of when you post it. When people start engaging, liking, commenting, and you're replying back and stuff like that, what it does is it tells the algorithm that this content is valuable. People find it very useful. So it exposes, because on a natural, so here's what it works, right? On a normal scale, when you post a content on social media, that content is shown to at least 10% of your followers.
Okay. On a normal basis.
On a normal basis. And at least 10% of your followers get to see it. That's why some of your friends will not even see your content, because they're not part of that 10%. So when that 10% see your content within that short frame of time and start engaging with that content, what it tells the algorithm is people find this valuable. Then it gives you another opportunity to push your content to another set of people. And what most young people are missing out on is they get tons of engagement because their friends are savvy as they are, and they get this content being pushed a lot more farther, but they're missing people that could be paying for that kind of traction. They're missing out on that. And because they don't go into that space with so much intention, and I think maybe I'm not being judgmental, but maybe it's coming from a place of I'm having fun, I'm trendy on social media and stuff like that, but they're not thinking about, okay, how can I, if I put $2 credit in my phone, I'll put $2 data in my phone, how can I get my $2 back, or how can I make my $2 $4 or $6? It's not coming from that space. You find out it's just vain metrics, it's vain engagement, because nobody reach out to them to say, what are you doing, or how can you be of help to my business, or how can you be of help to me as a person, and stuff like that. So they don't have any financial return on whatever, because they're investing their time. The fact that you focus, and I learned it from a guy called Leslie George on a friend's podcast. He said when you pay your attention to something, it costs you something else.
Exactly.
So the time that you're using on social media is costing you your time with your family, it's costing you your time with your lessons, it's costing you your time with your job, it's costing you your time, whatever you're supposed to be focusing on at that moment, and you're focusing on
The law of
something else,
sacrifice.
you're sacrificing something for that. So if I'm making the sacrifice to be here, why am I here? Well, I'm here to share value with your audience, to support your project and this work, because you're doing a lot of good stuff right here on your space. So I'm here offering support to my friend, and I'm here offering valuable information to your audience. And somebody in your audience may need this information, and I'm here selling myself. Simply because I'm sharing. And somebody might find this information very useful and say, I need to have a talk with Thelma because I want to know how this conversation can bring money into my bank account or into my business account. So I'm here, it's like I'm killing so many birds with just one stone by just being here.
Yeah.
And it's cost me time with my family. So if you put that energy on social media, ask yourself, why am I producing this content? Who am I doing this content for? Who do I want to reach out to me? Do I want leads? Do I want more visibility? Do I want more engagement? How do I transform that to money?
Okay, you mentioned something very, very crucial. It's called precision targeting. Precision targeting on social media. It's a problem for a lot of young people who have the urge, the desire to keep sharing meaningful contents. But then, how do these people now? What are immediate steps they can take to get that urgent and critical return on investment? What strategically can they do now? Because I'm sitting here thinking about three sets of people. There's someone out there who likes to share a lot of sports issue. Okay, he's not a journalist. He's not working for any newspaper agency, but he usually shares updates, sports updates. That's one category. There's a lot of young people fall in that category. Another category, another person loves to share everything funny, everything comic. They're not being paid for it. They're not receiving any, return on investment. Another person is all about beauty care and skin care and everything. How can these three people now re-engage social media? I want to tap into your mind. How can these three people now re-engage social media to get the return on investment?
Just sitting here listening to you, like, I'm smiling simply because I can clearly picture what you're saying.
Yeah.
And for each person, let's start with the sports person. You said probably they're not working.
They're
it's
not
just
working.
something fun. Now it's simply saying, I'm rephrasing the question is, how can I turn my passion into money?
Yeah.
How can I get
using
money
social
from my
media.
passion using social media?
Yeah.
So first thing first, you want to ask yourself, who are the people interested in what I'm putting out there?
Yeah.
There are news agencies who are willing to buy content, and there are other outlets, media outlets, who are willing to get these information. The other day I was talking to some group of young professionals and say, don't limit yourself to your geographical location. And it goes for you that if you're listening and if you watch this later as well, most of the time we kind of crunched ourselves in our geographical space. Meanwhile, you're looking at your physical and your geographical community. Meanwhile, you have your digital community, and your digital community is global. Tap into that. If I'm putting out sports news, research, and all this takes time, right? If you're trying to detox and clear your space and rebrand yourself, it takes a whole lot of investment. But with the same energy and passion you're putting out this content and building your following, there's so many businesses that want to tap into that. Businesses now are exploring influencers that they can tap into. Not people necessarily with 10K, 5K followers. They're nano influencers. They're micro influencers. You can have 1,000 followers and still make money off of that. Because what happens is, if your following is even a bit less, and this is just for people out there, go out on your social media platform, check out the people, the influencers you're following, check out their engagement. You'll see somebody with over 50,000 followers, and maybe sometimes just 100 comments, or maybe 1,000 likes, or whatever. But you And now look at it in proportion, right? Not so much because, oh, they have 50,000 followers and, oh, 100 people like it. No. Look at the percentage of their following versus the engagement.
So.
It's low. But if you look at yourself, maybe you have 500 followers and you have maybe 100 people engaging with. That's like 20% of your following that's engaging with your content. That's valuable. That percentage is higher compared to the influencer who has over 50K followers. So what you want to do is you want to do your background check. You want to go back to your drawing board. You want to research people who are, use your keywords. If it's sports, check news outlet, check commentator, check and all these footballers that or all these athletes that are in the space you're trying to work in, right? Follow hashtags, see what contents are being put out there, see who's putting those content out there, see who's in their space. Tap into those people's space. Tap into, if you're a digital creator, go online, search digital creator, search social media marketer. Use your time to research your space, research your market, see who your target audience are, see who your competitors are connecting with, connect with those people as well. I said one thing people cannot take from you is your experience. Your experience is unique compared to mine. Mine is also unique because it's me. It's not Wilcom's. And if you're also in the, you said sport, beauty, and comedy, right?
Yeah.
If you're into the comic space, if you're into comedy and stuff, here's what you can do. If you know your content is always getting a lot of engagement, learn to track it. Follow up with businesses. And you don't need to go to the office. Check out their social media. Send them proof of what you have. Send them your metrics. Send them your analytics. Tell them, I post a content and within an hour, I get over 1,000 views. Or I get over 2,000 views. Do you think businesses wouldn't want to pay for you to post their content? And here's what you do. When you're trying to sell on social media, you want to tell a story. You want to take your viewers on a journey. Do not make the mistake and say, okay, I'm in a comedy space. Learn from other comedians outside or Google them and put their hashtags on social media platforms and see what comes up. See how they tell their story and put a slice of an ad in between. You get? So when you are putting out comedy content and people are you're drawing traffic to your space, if you want to do an ad for a business, put the ad in between the comic too. Don't just say, okay, I posted a comic yesterday, I got over maybe 5,000 views today. Maybe a brand reached out to me. I don't want to call it a brand. Yes, so Ahamba Clothing reach out to you. Let me use my brand. So Ahamba Clothing reach out to you, and then you just post a nice outfit. You could post a meme and say what I ordered versus what I got. Yeah. It draws the traffic and it advertises the person's product. So what does that do? So people now get to see, they find the thing funny, but you draw more eyes on that product or service. And you find traffic going to that business, and that's the value you can give that business. So you tell them, so I do this, I get this, and a lot of people are engaging me on this. So if you give me this, and now you call your shots. Yeah. If you give me this, I can give you this amount of traffic or expose your product or service to this amount of people in my space, and this is the value you get. And trust me, if I have 5,000 people viewing this content, if you just have 10% of 5,000, what is it? 500. That's 500, yeah. If you have 10%, even if you have 5% of that traffic going towards you, that's 250 people. What's the worth of whatever you're trying to produce? Give them the numbers. If you have just 5% of the eyes on this content or this space coming to you, that's 250 people times whatever monetary value you add on your product. The company financial person, whoever sits down and times that number in their head, that's big money. They're like, you know what? I can pay change for this. Yeah. And they'll pay, but you need to go to them with proof to let them know that this is what I've done over the period. This is the traffic I'm drawing, and this is the value I can bring to you. Until you speak that language, nobody's going to want to invest in you. And if you're in this, you mentioned beauty care. If you're in beauty care, there are a lot of companies looking for people to test their products. Research that space. Get free products to test and put reviews out there. People are willing to pay for customers' feedback. Yeah. Because I was telling some people in another clubhouse room I entered last night, I was telling them, relationship can get you multiple sales, but your sales might not be able to get you a relationship. A one-time sales cannot get you a relationship, but a one-time relationship that you built over a period of time can get you multiple sales. So people know that people buy into people. A lot of brand understands that. So they'll buy into it.
You know, talking about not being too salesy, versus building relationships. That is one aspect that we should spend some time talking about. So let's talk about not being too salesy, because now you're trying to give or engender in people's mind that, yeah, this thing that I'm doing now, there is a business aspect attached to it. So let me now refocus, redirect, reshape my thinking into something business minded. So how can this person now not being too salesy, but rather building and leveraging relationships to get more sales?
I like that. And I'll just give you a hypothetical example that I shared at one of my LinkedIn virtual workshops. And I told them, so say for instance, we're in Liberia, right? So say for instance, maybe a lady sells corn by the Ministerial Complex Junction, and she's not branded. And her corn is very nice. Maybe she, has a way of making, maybe she does it with roasted corn with butter, or she put the roasted corn in the salt water, and it gives you a very good feeling, and you realize a lot of people are not doing it. But here's the thing, coming from a marketing perspective and industry as a marketer, then I want to tell that story on my social media platform. And at the same time, I want to sell my skills. Here's how I go about it. So today I went by Ministerial Complex. I bought this really homely made roasted corn, and it was so appetizing, and I enjoyed it. But interestingly, the lady is not branded. Now I don't live in this area. I live all the way across Burrowville, and she's not branded. There's no telephone number. There's no way I can contact her until I pass through that way. And just like me, she's missing a lot of traffic to her business because she's not branded, she's not packaged, there's no sense of marketing around her. She's just a mere street vendor that's selling her corn. But here's the business side. I enjoyed her corn. I want to talk about it on my social media and recommend people and say, if you go down Ministerial Complex, there's this lady that you can buy from. What's her brand name? What are her colors? How do I recognize her? What's her phone number? What's her social media handle?
How can I share her content?
Yes, how can I share that? She's missing out a lot as a business person. And then I'm taking you on a journey, and you're sitting there, wow, this is so true. If she has all these things, there's a lot of people. She could even do delivery without even missing out her clients, because somebody could just call and she send the delivery guy to pick it up. And then you're sitting there shaking your head, and I'm like, so from a marketing perspective, she's missing this. But here's a whole lot of things she could gain. She could 10 times her revenue by simply having her brand intact, by simply having an online presence, by having an ideal brand color that she can easily be identified with. And I would definitely want to pass by her again, or if you're a business and you're in her shoes, I'll be happy to help you. So you see the journey, I take you on the journey of what happened in my daily life. And I tell you as a business what the lady is missing and what she can gain. And at the end of the day, I tell you, if you're in that shoes of that lady selling the corn by the road, I can help you. That's my sales point. DM me, I'll be happy to help you. That's my call to action. So in as much as I'm telling you this issue, I'm providing the problem, I'm pointing out the problem and giving you a solution. I position myself as an expert in the space, and I can help you get a whole lot of return on your investment if you reach out to me. And then I end with a call to action that says DM me and I'm happy to help. So I'm selling, but I came up with a story.
So what you mentioned is people appeal more to
what they relate with,
and storytelling.
Exactly.
And I think it came up in one of our marketing sessions. People want to hear the human appeal to whatever. So if you selling a product or you have a service you're offering, I think the human and experiential, appeal matters. What about pitching? People say, the traditional pitching. Should I tell a story if I'm doing social selling? Should I tell? How do I approach pitching with my social selling?
We're humans, right? So even if I'm pitching something, for instance, let me pitch a handbag clothing, right? Let me give you a scenario. So I come to you as an investor and I tell you, you ask me why did I start Ahamba Clothing, and I give you a scenario where I was going for an interview, and maybe I wanted to look really sharp, and I realized that I had sent my clothes to the tailor, but he did not design what I had asked him or her to. The person did not design what I asked him or her to design for me, and at the interview that day, I did not make the cut, simply because I was not confident enough. Me not fitting in that outfit, and I had little time to make adjustment to that outfit. I went there with my confidence level already down. I could not sell myself, or I could not perform well in that interview, so I missed that job. So I decided to start up a clothing line that would not just provide clothes for people to wear, but to boost their confidence, to make them feel they can accomplish anything they want to accomplish, and to make them be more productive and save time. How does that sound like to you?
Great business, great idea.
So it's a fashion line, but there's a story behind me wanting to empower people's confidence and make them love themselves and make them feel that your possibilities are endless. So if you're putting your money into my clothing line, it's not because it's fine clothes. There's a mission to make people love themselves, to build their self-confidence and make them more productive in their space. And who doesn't like to buy into such great story, to know that I'm making an impact as much as I'm making profit?
Great. So behind a nice pitching, so you always try to infuse,
bring that human element to it, because, and that person will probably remember maybe on Christmas Day they wanted to wear an outfit and maybe their mother could not afford, so they ended up wearing a big shirt and they realized how their confidence was low and stuff like that, and then they're like, this makes so much sense. I can put my money here and I'll not just be making profit from this, but I'll be helping people. People want to help. They don't know how. So you pitching, let them know that it's not just for the money. I'm actually going to make your dreams come true. Your dream of helping build people's confidence, I'm going to make it come true through my clothing line.
Okay. You're watching the program is CEO's Chat. We're having very, very deep and wonderful conversations on the importance of personal branding with specific reference and focus on social selling. Thelma Teetee Ahamba is a Liberian digital content creator. She's also a marketing specialist, an expert in her own field, and we've been delving very deep into the importance of social selling and all that comes with it. Let's get back to our conversation. Let's now focus on the idea of social selling. What are the immediate and future benefits? Because we've been talking about, this is how you leverage your relationships to get you the sales you want. People want to see perspectives. How does this social selling works in terms of benefits? What are the benefits?
So here's the immediate benefit of social selling, and that flows into the future, I should say. So let's bring it to me and you, right? I know you from high school, and we're classmates in high school. And over the period, even though there was a gap, we still bonded at one point. And at the time, I wasn't doing business. But over the years, I've maintained my relationship with Wilcom. And now I have a business that offers clothing. And even if you do not buy from me or you're not my ideal client, I get to tap into your network of people. And the fact that we've built a relationship over a period of time, and you know the work I'm doing, you believe in it, and you know I offer so much value, and you trust it, when you give a word of mouth about my brand, that's an endorsement. The people in your network, they don't do much scrutiny to me as they would another stranger who's coming to pitch from out of the blue. I'm going to be leveraging your relationship, even, like I said, even if you're not my ideal customer. right? So I'm tapping into your space that probably have my ideal customers, and definitely just listening to, say for instance, your manager at Champion Design Queen. She hears you talk about Ahamba clothing and how wonderful it is, or how we did maybe your colleague's wedding and it's nice, and she'll be like, Wilcom, I know you got taste.
Yeah.
If you can recommend this, I'm going for it without a doubt. So sometimes it's not about the immediate gratification, it's about what's going to happen in the future. And if and when, let me use when instead of if, when Queen takes your word for it and patronizes Ahamba clothing, I tap into Queen's network. Now I'm tapping into her space from the customer's perspective and the customer's view. So when she's talking about Ahamba clothing now, it's coming from an area of experience. I've encountered this product. I know what it did for me. It made me one of the happiest bride, maybe on my wedding day. And my husband was looking gorgeous when he was walking down the aisle to pick me up. And I get to tap into her network because she's sharing her experience. So because of our relationship, I gain a customer. And that one relationship with you, or that period of time that we've built a relationship over the years, I tap into Queen, I tap into her network, and it explodes. And then it spreads like wildfire. That broadens my reach. That gives me new customers. That gives me opportunity to tap into maybe potential suppliers, or maybe potential business partners or investors, just from Wilcom.
Just from a single source.
Yes.
That's leveraging a relationship.
That's some of the benefits you can get from social selling.
Okay.
And because of that when you build a relationship with people and people start talking about you and what you do, or people mention you in a conversation, what it does for you is it helps you. If I'm supposed to maybe meet a potential client and do some cold calling and blah, 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 that takes me up the ladder couple of steps. Because I'm not coming as a fresh person. I'm coming as someone who, this person has given me their word about your brand. So I'm just going to prove myself. So it comes from a whole different level now that makes me escape the whole convincing you that I can do this, I can produce resort. Now I'm coming to you like I'm bringing results because I have somebody that have already vouched for me, that have endorsed me. So it makes it a whole lot easier, and it's very simple to get that person to put money out of their pocket than when I don't have relationship with anybody. And even on the first go.
Over the months, you've shared a lot of content and value on LinkedIn, and LinkedIn. A lot of people have seen LinkedIn to only be for business-to-business connections and only for top clients and top level managers. Let's bring it here. How can regular people make use of LinkedIn? And how can it leverage, returns on investment?
So a lot of times, and a couple of people I've spoken to over the period, and I just like the conversations around LinkedIn because I was connecting with the guy today on LinkedIn, and I'm like, there's not a time I have a conversation about LinkedIn that I don't walk away from that conversation with something new, even if it's me talking, because people get to ask questions and I get to have an impulsive response that maybe I wasn't even thinking about in the beginning. So somebody once said, LinkedIn is for everybody, but everybody is not for LinkedIn. And it's very true. So if you say I'm for LinkedIn, you can make it happen. If you think LinkedIn is not your platform where you can get what you want, no biggie. Go for the platform that works for you. But for LinkedIn, here's and I keep saying this in every conversation that comes up when it comes to LinkedIn. I was on LinkedIn when I was in college a couple of years ago. And just like many people today, the thought was, it's just another social media platform. I want to be in the fries. I need to get on LinkedIn. Oh, yes, if I position myself as a professional, I just need to have a really nice picture that me, wearing a corporate blouse or something, and I present myself as a professional, and that was it. And once in a blue moon, I'll post something and ghost. I will post and I will ghost. Until recently when I was getting back to my book project, The Drive. And then I'm like, you know what? This space is so warm and very interesting for people who are, and here's the fact about LinkedIn. 90% of LinkedIn users, according to research, they are what we call lurkers. They're just the passers-by. They're just looking for something. 9% of them are, is it creators or something? I think 9% are creators, but 1% is putting out content.
Yep.
So you realize that the competition is less on LinkedIn. There are a lot of people, there are a lot of businesses looking for solutions to their problems, to their pain points. But the supply is far less than the demand. So as a regular social media user, no knowledge is wasted. There's something you know that a lot of people do not know. And here's what happened. I learned this from a lady who's a visibility coach on LinkedIn, and to give her the credit, she's called Mildred Talabi, and she's in the UK. And she said she posted a poll the other day and said, "What makes you an expert? Is it your knowledge? Is it your years of experience, or is it your visibility?" And that shook me, and I take that into every conversation that mentions LinkedIn, and when it comes to that, because the poll was quite interesting. A lot of people went in for knowledge and experience, and only a handful of people went in for visibility. And then she asked the question during her live session. She said, if you had gone through a process of learning this, you have the knowledge. Say maybe you have the knowledge in, what should I say? I'm a fashion designer, right? So let me use me. So say I have the knowledge in fashion, and I've been doing it since college till now. I have the knowledge, I have the experience. But when I came to Liberia, nobody knew me. I wasn't visible. So in as much as I'm a fashion designer, I'm simply a fashion designer that nobody knows. So I need to be visible. How? By showing up. So if you think you're an ordinary social media user, here's what you could do. What do you know? What do you have? What skill do you have that you're willing to sell? What knowledge do you have that you're willing to transfer or talk about? If you know something, if you have an experience in something and you don't show up, you'll just be an expert that nobody knows. So it boils down to how visible you are. And I'll cite this example. So I'm a poet. And the other day, I think 2019 or early 2020, right? Before Corona hit Liberia, I had signed up for the Liberian Poets Society competition, International Women's Day competition. And that taught me a really great lesson. I'm new to Liberia. That was my second year in Liberia last year. And I signed up for this competition with a lot of great people. And usually I like to experiment because I wanted to know how much people know me. And then I signed up for this competition. I just had my baby. She was just a few months old. I went to the event with her. And they mentioned this. There's a lot of great young people on the part of the competition. I remember they mentioned G1. She went, the whole place went, whoa. And then when they mentioned Thelma, it was just a couple of hands that were clapping. And I'm like, nobody knows me. Like, that hit me. I'm like, girl, you did not go to school here. You're probably just too busy for your age group, and you're always indoors. You're not attending functions, aside the fact that if it's your work, which only people above your age will attend. So, and this audience sitting here is a bunch of young college students who have no idea who the hell you are.
So there's a need to crack out of your shell.
So then what brought that to me was, it did not mean I'm no poet. It did not mean my contents were not inspiring. It simply meant
you were not visible.
I was not visible. So what do you know? What do you have? How are you showing up? So if you're a social media user, if you know something, some people are really great writers. They know how to do research writing, business writing, creative writing. Show up. Tell a story. The more you do, recently a guy shared a story that a lady who had gone to really great schools, had really big companies on her CVs. He did not know her. How he reached out to her was through the content she was sharing on LinkedIn. And And he reached out to her, and because of that content, he reached out to her and said, I'd like to talk to you and know you a bit more. I have opening for so-and-so, so I followed you for this amount of time, and I see that you can be of value to my team. So let's have a conversation. And then she sent her CV. And then that was when he saw that she had gone to great schools. She had a lot of big names on her CV. She had, a whole lot of big companies on her CV. But he wouldn't have known if not for the content she was putting out on LinkedIn. So what content are you putting out there? If you want to take up space now, focus on the fact that I want to be visible. And what do I want to be visible for? I want to be visible for one thing. So what brand do I want to project? Project that brand on every platform, because you do not want to confuse your target audience. You can't be reaching out to me for, I can't say I'm into clothing and I'm posting hairstyles.
That's
when
totally.
You think of clothing, I wouldn't come to mind. I'll be the least on your list. You won't even think of it, because I'm showing up always as a hairstylist and not a fashion designer. Even with my content on LinkedIn, sometimes I make reference to my clothes, that this clothes was made by Ahamba Clothing. On Facebook, people know Ahamba Clothing. On Instagram, people know Ahamba Clothing. In my space, and even on Clubhouse, people know me that I'm a fashion designer. So I want people in my space
to know exactly,
to know what's for,
what content you
don't be
projecting.
Everywhere. So project one thing and one thing only. If you go with web design, talk about web design, show up, bring solutions to the table, and talk about that. And here's one cheat item that people do not know. The more value you give, the more value will come back to you. The more value you give, the more value come back to you. So if you're showing up and talking about other people's experience and how much value you have added that have contributed, or if somebody posts out a content and you comment and give value, then people start keeping an eye on you. Let me follow her. Let me see what she's doing. Oh, this is valuable. I think I want to talk to Thelma. Some people have reached out to me from just another person's comment section. Oh, I saw you commented this, and I see that you made a really great point. Can we have a conversation? When is it okay to chat with you? So you want to do that. You want to be known for something. You want to be known for adding value to people's life, and you want to change the quality or adjust the quality of the people in your space, and then start making money.
Adjust the quality, like I always say to people, do one thing and be good at it. You just can be everywhere. You can be this and that and that and this. I mean, someone has to know you for something specifically. Now let's look at Thelma as a person. You are fabulously as an entrepreneur as you are as a poet. Tell us in 3 maybe sentences or short phrases, what do you consider as your motivations for success?
Oh, I like that. And I've always asked you this question.
And now is your turn to ask.
My motivation for success is simply the fact that I wanna be in the reach of people who do not have people in their reach to look up to as an inspiration. And that means a whole lot of different things for me. I want to be successful, or I like to say I want to reach my milestones, because I wanna energize people who may sometimes be tired on their journey and may feel like giving up. I want to energize those people. I want to be their energy. I want to be, say, their energy drink. I want them to look at me and say,
because
she's pushing. Because of Thelma, I want to do this. And to some extent, I've had people reach out to me and say, because you got to this level, I'm getting there. And I'm a first generation graduate in my family. And I say there was with a whole lot of humility and finishing college. And I always give the credit to my sisters and my mom, simply because without their shoulders and the shoulders of a lot of amazing people in my life, I wouldn't have gotten to where I've gotten to. And just finishing college was enough motivation for my sisters to start their journey. And my elder sister is now this year going to be finishing her associate degree. And my second elder sister is going to be starting her college journey.
So that's an inspiration.
So that's my inspiration. Like my sisters, there are a lot of people who life happens to them. And sometimes they just, you know what, I'm going to put this on hold. I have a lot of things to take care of. I have family to take care of. So I want to be that energy ray to say, Thelma did it. I want to do it. I can do it. And I can also pass the touch to another person. So in a nutshell, that's my motivation for success. That's why that's why I wake up every morning doing what I do, because I want to be somebody's within reach to say I can tap into Thelma and get to where I'm going.
Let's look at failures. A lot of people don't talk about failures, but
Thank you.
as an entrepreneur, I think we need to talk about failures so that people who are looking up to us can also know that, yeah, if you're on this journey, there will be, bulwarks, there will be obstacles that you encounter. What have been your biggest failure?
Now this reminds me of chat with Temi. And now Temi is being asked this question.
Yeah.
She asked a lot of people. So one of my biggest failures, when I came to Liberia a couple of years ago as an intern, like I was in college and I came for vacation. And then I had started my business. I was excited. And I'm like, I want to establish in Liberia. I want to register my business. I want to do this and blah, blah, blah. And guess what happened? I ran out of space, and let me put it out there because they really hurt my feelings. So I ran out of space in the Nesido market.
No, okay.
And I had my little kiosks, and I took a whole lot of pictures. I think I posted some on Facebook saying, this is my first physical location that I spent my money to get and stuff like that. As a student entrepreneur, that was a great milestone for me to hit. But here's what happened. The vacation was over, and I packed my stuff. I couldn't take them back to Ghana. My sisters were busy. So I'm like, okay, is this stall? They had security. The market closed. It's much more secure. So let me leave my stuff here.
In the kiosk?
Yeah. And it's inside the building that has gates and security.
That's the door
and
market.
It did not cross my... And I remember calling a couple of people at the... I think at the Chamber of Commerce or so, and say, I'm leaving the market for a while, and is it okay to leave my stuff? And they're like, yeah, nothing will happen. There's security and blah, blah, blah. I'm like, okay, that's great. I'm going back to school. And you won't believe it. I left, and my things, I think it was close to 1,000 or a little above 1,000 worth of goods, clothes, slippers, bags, followed the security to wherever he was going to.
Wow.
And I had just, in that period, my sister had just invested $400 in my business as a support to me.
Hard-earned resources.
Her hard-earned money. And that broke me because I'm like, I was ground zero. Not with my money alone, but my sister's money. And how am I going to get back up there? And that was it. And I look at it and said, I won't let it break me. I mean, I started with nothing. So I can indeed continue from nothing. And we all know the story.
The rest.
Ended with history. My shoe got, my slippers cut, my sandals cut. I never got my money back. I never got any head and tail about it, with so many effort of the assistant minister at the time that was helping. I don't know if she's still there, but she really put her energy, but it did not result to anything. So I'm like, you know what?
I'm just
gonna forget it and continue
with another venture.
With another thing. And that was it.
And here you are, Ahamba Clothing, content creator, and a whole lot to a lot of people. Okay, let's talk about, what do you do to relax?
How often do I relax?
I mean, the entrepreneurial journey is so stressful. So what do you do aside from reading, writing, to cool up? And
once in the blue
our time
moon,
is ticking, so
once in the blue moon, I watch movie with my husband.
Okay.
But it's mainly scary movies that he likes, so I end up not watching the movies. So once in the blue moon is movies, and other times I play, and most often I play with my girls, and we wrestle, and stuff. So that's helpful for me.
Thelma Teetee Ahamba, digital content creator. We've been talking about the importance of social selling as it relates to personal branding. Let's get your parting statements as we wind down on this first part series.
My parting statement will be, do not go into any space without strategy and without being intentional. And I'm very grateful for the fact that Wilcom could get me on this space, and I'm happy to share with your audience. And I mean, I was telling him, I'm just used to my little corner and sitting there and stuff, and now Wilcom brought me to TV. Quite interesting. And I'm really grateful for the opportunity to be able to share. And I like to tell people I'm no pro, but I like having great conversations, and I hope you got a thing or two from this particular conversation, and I hope it brings money into your pockets and into your bank accounts. So remember not to go anywhere without an intention and a strategy. I remain Thelma Teetee Ahamba, the host of Chat with Teddy.
Now she want to mark that shit. But anyway, that's
Of course, you can follow me on any social media platform, Thelma Teetee Ahamba.
Yep.
And my handle everywhere is at TheMMYWRYT. So that's my handle on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, and LinkedIn as well, and Clubhouse.
Thank you very much. Okay, and of course, my name is Wilcom Duncan, host of the program CEO's Chat and also Chief Executive Officer for Chapter Designs. And until next time, we say have a very good time. Take into consideration COVID-19 is here. Keep social distancing, always wear your mask, make sure you're vaccinated, and always keep the peace. Thank you very much.